What is up, everyone? It is the Titan Bros here with you today, doing our very first recap. Tennessee Titans versus the Philadelphia Eagles. So we recorded a preview last night, but right in the middle of it, Josiah, my brother's phone died right in the middle. So yeah, that's okay. But since it died right in the middle, we weren't able to put the preview out. But we will be referencing this video that's never to be seen by the internet because there were some predictions and some things to watch that we're going to briefly go over and whatnot. But yeah, so again, we are the Titan Brothers. My name is, or the Titan Bros. My name is Gabriel. That's my brother Josiah, and we are going to be recapping this disastrous of a game by the Tennessee Titans. Okay, so what was your first initial reaction, just as the game went on, as it started to conclude, just all of it? Just let's hear what you got.
Well, my first thing was that we are not good enough to play against good teams. I think for a second, a lot of fans believed that we was a top dog. We were 7-3. We was looking good. We won 6 out of the last 7, 7 out of the last 8, something like that. And we was looking good. And I think we kind of stopped believing that we was better than we was. We've yet to beat a team with a winning record yet, except now you have the Commandos because they've gotten hot. So they have a winning record now. But when we played them, they was a bad team. But we can't beat good teams. We can beat bad teams, which is weird because Titans love to lose to bad teams. But this year we can beat them. So I think we're like in the middle of the pack team. Can't beat good teams, but we do beat the bad teams. But I think it's time for Titan fans to think that we can do anything in the playoffs. I mean, the Eagles, the Bills, they dismantled us. Those are the teams that you have to beat in the playoffs. Dismantled us. We're nowhere near good enough to beat those teams. Even the more secondary, like teams that I wouldn't say is top of the notch, but the playoff teams like the Bengals couldn't beat them. The Giants couldn't beat them. So I just feel like there's a gap between us and the teams that actually can win the Super Bowl. That was my first observation of watching that game because it didn't take long. I'm like, oh, these guys, we can't stop them. The only time they have a punt is because they did a stupid penalty. Other than that, we couldn't stop them. And our offense, besides that one drive, we scored a touchdown. We couldn't do nothing. And I'm like, okay, we're nowhere near as good as these people.
Because what the issue is, I feel like we were just a good, never great team in the Marcus Mariota era. We were 9-7, 9-7, 9-7, over and over and over. As soon as we made that switch to Tannehill back in 2019, Tannehill went 7-3 as the starter that year, and then the next year we went 11-5, and then we went 12-5. So I feel like we went from good to great. Very much debatable on whether or not you want to say we were an elite team in any of those years, but we definitely went from good to great. We were a great team, 11-5, 12-5. Like these are good, great team record anyways. But this year we went back to being good. And it's just painful to watch when you're watching. One of the reasons we're getting manhandled is we had no answer for A.J. Brown. And wouldn't it be nice if we were playing against the Eagles and the Eagles had no answer for A.J. Brown?
Yeah.
It's just huge. It hurts to see because I don't know what to do with A.J. Brown. I didn't know what to do with him because he cut off all contact with the Tennessee Titans. They're trying to get a contract done. He cuts off all contact. I don't know what the Titans were supposed to be doing. I guess they were supposed to call us bluff because that's what they did with Deebo Samuels. Deebo Samuels is like, yeah, I'm not talking to you people anymore. And he cut off and said we had a trade request and cut off communication. But the 49ers were just like, meh, we're just going to kind of chill here because he's technically still under contract, so he has no leverage. So eventually Deebo Samuels' camp reached back out to the 49ers and they got a deal done. I guess that's what the Titans should have done. But
yeah, let me tell you, right now, I would rather pay A.J. Brown maybe a little too much money for a receiver, but have him on this offense than not having him. Because, yes, our offense wasn't super last year, and I think it's you and some other people like to point that out. We still have nothing, especially when, Treylon Burks. Is he good? I think so, but he's no A.J. Brown. We just don't look the same without him. We need him and probably some other receivers too.
Problem is, it's hard to say what the biggest issue was because we couldn't score points and we couldn't stop them from scoring points.
Yeah, well, I agree with that.
Right, so it's hard to just put our finger on one thing. And I think what we're going to do, probably to start this, we're going to go over what our key matchups were in the preview that you people are never going to see. We're going to go over our key matchups and just see how they played out. And I'm just going to go ahead and start off with one. The first key matchup I was watching is the front seven. Let's see, front seven, stop running. I use abbreviations. Go ahead.
You said the front seven stopped Jalen Hurts and running.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Because I used so many abbreviations in my notes, I didn't understand what I was trying to say. But yeah, that was the weird thing I'm a little confused about. I said us stopping Jalen Hurts from running all over us is exactly what we would need to do to slow that offense. And for the most part, we did.
He had one rushing touchdown, but other than that,
we actually did stop. And I think for the first time in his career, he beat us as a pocket passer.
He was slinging it. He was throwing some dimes, I will say that.
He had like one pass on a third down that he bounced it. Like he threw it a couple short. And he had the other one he threw short that they did a bull crap pass interference call where A.J. Brown just falls on his back and it lands next to him. I didn't like that call. But so he had a couple underthrows. But besides that, the dude was just tossing all over the yard. So that matchup, I think we did fine. I don't have the stats in front of me, so I don't know exactly how many rushing yards he had. But Jalen Hurts, I think he has like 500-600 yards rushing on the whole season. So the fact that we held him, I think, for not that many at all, should have stopped them from getting the 35 points that they got.
Yeah, because he had 5 attempts for 12 yards.
Yeah, exactly. So that's even better.
One was a touchdown, but other than that, we shut him down.
Yeah, do you remember what your first matchup is?
I had the same thing. Remember, the first one I said we got to stop him rushing. And other than that touchdown, we did that. I didn't expect our secondary to allow 380 yards passing by Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and that was Amani Hooker. That play was on. You can't let the guy get outside. And when Amani Hooker came to the running back, he, for some reason, broke inside to try to get around the running back when you know you're the one who's supposed to be setting the edge and not letting him get to it. But so that's a shame. That's a shame on Amani Hooker right there. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next matchup. This did not work out well. I said the offensive line needs to hold up in run blocking. And this running game is the worst running attack I have seen us have since like 2018 when some reason Matt LaFleur thought Dion Lewis should be the starting running back. This O-line is getting zero push.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry, I do think he has regressed some. I do. But I still feel like Derrick Henry, and it's always been his biggest issue since he's been a starter. If you get him in the backfield, you got him. You do. Even in the 2020 season, there was a time, I don't remember exactly how many, but what the exact number was, but they said that Derrick Henry had the most amount of negative rush attempts of anybody in the league. It was like not even close. So I'm not going to say easy, but it's simple to know how to stop Derrick Henry, and that's just get him in the backfield before he gets ahead of steam. And this O-line is maybe the worst O-line I've seen the Titans have. So I don't know where to go from here. I guess keep tossing the ball around, but I mean, you saw the way Tannehill was wobbling with both ankles now after the game. And Treylon Burks, I don't know how long he's going to miss with a concussion, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our offense was in big trouble, which is saying a lot because our offense was already bad. But now, like you said, Tannehill has 2 hurt ankles. Our number 1 receiver is hurt, and our running game. The last, what is it, been a month now, 4 weeks, I'm pretty sure. Derrick Henry hasn't came close to 100 yards. We look terrible.
I think he had 80-something against the Broncos.
Okay. And then after that, has he broke 50? He may have, but he's been bad. He's been really, really bad.
Who did we play after the Broncos? The Packers. The Packers, he also had like 80. So he had like 80-something against the Packers and Broncos, but then he was only, I think, 40 or 50 against the Bengals, and then only like 30 to something today.
There's no way. Yeah, he had 30 yards. That's ridiculous. Now, Derrick Henry is definitely not. Some of that's blocking, but to me, some of that's him. He just looks slow. He can't bounce it out anymore. There was a couple of runs, not many, but a couple of runs. He actually had some space. There was an outside run, but it took him so long by the time he got the ball to get to the line of scrimmage that there was a hole, and it was closed by the time he got there. I don't know why, and maybe he doesn't trust the offensive line. I don't know what it is, but he can't move anymore. He's slow as molasses, and he gets tackled by the first person. I know you disagree with me on that one, but I see not just a little regression. I see a whole bunch from him. And I personally believe that he thinks it too because he's beginning to lose his temper. And usually that's signs of a lot of people knowing that their days are getting numbered. But anyway, Jude has something to say.
I still think Derrick Henry has a lot in the tank because before these last 2 bad games, Derrick Henry is the #1 rusher in the league. Still, he may have lost some top end speed, maybe, but his issue is he does 1 or 2 things: either he's too patient, waiting for a hole to open that never opens, or 2, he'll be like, "There's never going to be a hole, so I'm just going to run full speed into the line," and that's exactly what happens. He just runs full speed into the line, and then people just jump all over him. And that's into that. And I still say it still mostly goes back to just there are no holes. There are no holes. Like, I haven't seen a single play this year where there's a nice hole and he just either can't get to it or he's just like, yeah, I'm going to go somewhere else. Like, I'm not seeing that yet. The only thing that I say with him, I do wish he would bounce it out more.
He has.
I just do that all the time where he just runs straight towards the line. And as he gets there, there's no hole. As soon as he starts to get to the line, he goes almost completely sideways, like he's going towards the out of bounds. And then he curves it back and puts that ball in his hand and gets that stiff arm ready to go. But yeah, go ahead with your second one.
Second one, and the problem is this was not, inclusive. I can't say exactly because I was saying I think this would be good for John Robinson. This would be good for the Titans. We need to see Traylon Burks to play at least half as good as A.J. Brown. And I would say he had that touchdown pass, which looked good. So maybe he was actually on his way to at least looking decent. I mean, I don't think he was going to get 2 touchdowns at 119 yards like A.J. Brown did, but he looked like he might have a good game. I think you would agree with that. But then he got hurt. So that was inclusive. I couldn't say for sure, how that was going to turn out. But I think it would be huge for him to have a good game, though, because at least right now, I bet there's a lot of Titan fans who's not happy with John Robinson with that trade just because of this game alone. But
yeah, again, Robinson's a very unpopular person.
Yeah, I still think that stings. I think that stings about. It stung all year, but seeing him do 8 receptions, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns makes it hurt even a little bit more.
Yeah, going against him in fantasy didn't help me either.
I had Jalen Hurts in fantasy, so that was nice. He gave me 32 points or 31, I think. So hey, at least there's one positive for today.
Yeah, and I also had Derrick Henry, so that. But anyways, so those are the matchups we had highlighted before the game in our non-existent preview, and clearly we didn't really hold up our end on these matchups for the most part, besides stopping Hurts. But I don't think anybody was expecting Hurts to throw for over 400 yards and beat us that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty, I guess we'll go ahead and move on to the section of who do you think is the most to blame for the loss? Who do you think is most to blame?
I think for me, and I this might be not the answer you expect because this kind of covers, I guess, the whole team. But I'm gonna say, at least for today's game, I'm gonna say John Robinson because again, you see A.J. Brown, you're like, oh, I wish we had a receiver like that. And you're like, wait, we did, but you decided to trade him instead. Also, you said it, our offensive line is bad. It's really bad. It really is, okay? And it was bad last year. And I'm like, okay, you got one job. Fix this offensive line. Instead, what did he do? He shipped our #1 receiver out and didn't really fix his offensive line. It's just as bad, maybe even worse than last year. And I'm like, in today's NFL, well, you need a good offense. In today's NFL, that is it. You need a good offense. And all he did was make our offense worse. And of course, I guess you could always blame Todd Downing because he needs to go. I think we both agree with that. But at the end of the day, John Robinson really didn't give Todd Downing anything to work with. And I'm not here to defend Todd Downing at all. But really, he has no receivers to throw to. Tannehill doesn't. Tannehill's a decent at best quarterback. And our offensive line sucks. So there's really not much for him to call, to be honest. Now, he still makes pretty good decisions.
I apologize. My son just came downstairs. I'm in the middle of recording a video, but I'll come talk to you as soon as I'm done, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Brief interruption. All right. I'm going to go with something which usually Titans are good at this besides the offensive coordinator, but I'm going to go with my #1 issue is the coaching. I wanted to say injuries, but you can't say injury.
Yeah.
But that's why I say it's going to be a coaching issue. You have to coach for the players you have. And that has honestly been one of Mike Vrabel's strongest points, if not his strongest points, as an NFL head coach. But especially on defense, and Shane Bowen, I like the job Shane Bowen does down there in Mike Vrabel. But on defense, they lost Christian Fulton. Caleb Farley obviously turned out to be a bust. Cornerback-wise, they were not good. But they still were man coverage against A.J. Brown.
That was dumb.
With Trey Avery, an undrafted rookie cornerback, and just these no-name players, even though they lost Fulton and all that, I'm just like, you got to adjust because it didn't work. It didn't work.
I'll give you that.
And the pass rush just didn't help anything either.
I actually had that written down on my notes. The pass rush was awful. Jalen Hurts had all day to throw. Sorry, go ahead.
He did. No, I'm just going to say, we could survive without Harold Landry. How much can you hear my son?
A little bit.
Yeah, Caleb, don't kick the ball into the wall. Okay, sorry about that. But we could survive without Harold Landry. Obviously, he was our best pass rusher, at least stat-wise. And I was like, well, we can still put pressure on with Bud Dupree, Danico Autry, Jeffrey Simmons, and Rashad Weaver's depth. He's a good depth piece. But with two of those four monsters being gone, Bud Dupree, Harold Landry, Danico Autry, and Jeffrey Simmons, missing two of them. So all we had was Bud, who I think Bud's so overrated. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
I think he's a very average. Caleb, get down. Sorry. But Bud Dupree is average. He's an average pass rusher. Like he's a starter. He's a starter, but he's very average and getting paid way too much. Danico Autry is one of the best players on defense we had last year, and he's one of the best, if not the best, defensive player we had this year. Jeffrey Simmons has a bad ankle, and obviously Harold Landry's not here. And with only two of those four beasts as our edge rushers, it showed. It showed, and that's why Hurts was able to beat us in the pocket, because he just stood there.
Yep.
It's eventually going to get open when you have lousy cornerbacks trying to man up against these really good wide receivers. So, again, this is why I'm going back to coaching. And I really wanted to say injuries, but it's such a
lot of teams can say that. A lot of teams can say that, probably.
Yeah, but like I'm sitting here looking at a offensive line where Dennis Daly is not supposed to be starting. That's supposed to be Taylor.
Yeah,
I'm looking out at our wide receivers. I don't even know who our wide receivers were out there because Cody Hollister didn't play. Traylon Burks went out. And I will say one thing that we did do, which I'm going to discuss this guy later. We played Chig Okonkwo as our slot receiver a lot in this game after we lost Burks, but that's somebody I'm going to talk about later in the show. So we're about 20-ish minutes in. So is there any we just went through the blame game, so to speak. So is there anything you want to talk about about all that and before I can't spit it out before we move on to our bright spot?
Not really, no.
Okay. Well, then if that's the case, I'm just going to jump right into what I was thinking. Chig Okonkwo and Traylon Burks. Burks only played 1, 2, maybe 3 series before he got that concussion, but I don't know what was more impressive, the catch or the fact that he held on to it, even though he was concussed. Because even like he was just laying there for like 10 or 15 seconds, he's still just holding the football. So good job on him there. That was a heck of a catch. Nice hands catch. And I feel like he would have gone off.
Yeah, he would look like he was on position to definitely do that. I'm definitely say.
Yeah. So I feel bad for the guy. So I can't just say it's him. He did score a one and only touchdown, but I would say Chig. Chig is just so explosive. He's not even that fast, but every time he catches the ball, he makes stuff happen. I think I remember there's a 3-game stretch where he only had 1 catch each game, and he had like a 41-yard catch, a 60-yard catch, and then like a 27-yard catch. And those 3 catches spaced across 3 games, 1 catch each game. And I'm like, why don't we get this guy the ball more? So he actually got some receptions today. What do you have, like 65 yards or so? But Chig Okonkwo was a good player. We have to continue feeding this guy.
68. He had 68 receiving yards.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I'd say my bright spot has to be the young playmakers in both Burks and Chigakonkwo.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree that those two both on the bright side there, because really there wasn't much to say. I thought our secondary looked bad. Thought our pass rush looked bad. I thought the pass game looked bad. The running attack looked bad. Even special teams were bad. We couldn't stop a punt. Yeah, even that looked bad today. So there really wasn't much. And I, don't want to sound dramatic here, but there really wasn't much good today's game. We kind of got our tails kicked. So yeah, I agree. I guess you could say our rookie weapons there look good. And I would say this, I agree with you about Chick. I just wish that we would have Swain less plays dialed up for him. Now today we didn't do anything, but I wish we had less plays for him dialed up and more plays for him because, like you said, he's explosive, so he can make big plays. Swain is the opposite of that, and so I just wish we had more Swain on the sidelines, and we can have Chig out there actually plays designed for him because, like you said, he makes big plays.
Yeah, he does. I don't know how he does, but I think every time he gets the ball, he's got to go at least 10 or 15 yards before he gets tackled. I will say Tannehill got away with one because remember we threw a screen to Chig.
Yeah,
and
that was bad.
James Bradbury broke through and almost had a pick six.
Yeah.
But here's one thing that could have been a good thing, but turned out bad at the end. Something we complained about all year that Tannehill's been missing from his game is even before he hurt his ankles, he looked scared to run. We had no idea. But this game, he started running and he looked quick. But then by the end of it, he had both of his ankles taped up and he couldn't run. So
yeah.
I don't even know. So is there anything you want to say before we just move on to our conclusion?
No, not really.
Okay. So my conclusion is we're dying but not dead. We're going to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because Colts, they're still not good. They had one nice morale victory with
Jeff Saturday.
Jeff Saturday as the other interim, but then they went back to reality, and it's just they're not going to be good. The Jags, they were bad again today. And then Trevor Lawrence, I think, got hurt and missed the second half of the game, and I think he might not play next week against us. So, I'm still somewhat positive because I've always said it depends on when you get hot. We're not hot right now. So it depends on when you get hot. I don't see us making any noise in the playoffs this year. I just don't. We might win a game because technically, the Jets and the Patriots, either one of those still have a decent chance at making the playoffs. So it's always possible that we end up playing one of them in the playoffs. Or if the Bengals end up taking that division, which is kind of looking like they will. Lamar Jackson hasn't been great today. So we might end up playing like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in the playoffs in our first game. So I think we're going to go 10-7, if I'm being 100% honest with you, because right now we're 7-5.
Yeah.
I think we beat the Jags next week. We're 8-5. If we lose to the Chargers, we're 8-6. I don't remember who we play after that.
I will tell you in a second.
And might be the Texans again.
We got the Jags, Chargers, Texans, Cowboys, Jags.
Yeah, so Texans will knock us back up to 9-6. Then we'll probably lose to the Cowboys, back down to 9-7, and then we'll probably beat the Jags again, be 10-7. So basically, what I'm saying, we have to go 6-0 in our division, and that will get us to 10-7, which again, we'll win our division, but sadly, it'll probably make us the 4th seed. And so it's possible that we play against either the Bills or the Dolphins, whichever one don't win their division.
Either of those is going to be tough.
Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is we lost. It sucked. It sucked any way you want to put it. But we're still going to go to the playoffs unless we just lose out and the Colts start winning some games. But I don't see how it's possible.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are a playoff team by default because our division is actually a joke. It really is. Our division is awful. So we're going to make the playoffs. But again, like I said when I first started, I don't think we're actually that good of a team. I think we're in the other division, we probably would be the 2nd or 3rd place and miss the playoffs. But AFC South is awful. So we're going to make the playoffs, but I don't expect us to even win a game. So I think that will this be what the third year or fourth year that we would probably be one and done in the playoffs?
Third.
Okay, yeah, and so
Third year in a row we win our division, and the third year in a row we're one and done in the playoffs.
that's what I expect from us. Yeah, because we're not that good. We got some big injuries with Fulton, Traylon Burks, and David Long. I don't know if he ever came back. Did he come back? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Okay, so that's some big injuries to us. But like you said, you look at the schedule. I honestly, even with or without these players, I think we're going to win the division games and lose the games that's not. Those injuries hurt, but I don't know if that's not gonna make us not a playoff team or more of a threat in the playoffs. So I think we're stuck where we are. We're just a 10-7, one and done playoff game. Do you have a son behind you?
I do. I got a little spy. Let's see what his input is. Caleb, come here. What do you think is the reason we lost today?
Because of wins they have.
Oh, because they have a lot of wins. Yeah, that's probably a good answer. Because they have a lot of wins. So, anyways, is there any? I know you just had your conclusion, but is there any closing remarks you want to say before we just get out of here and hope for a better week next week?
I think in the offseason we need to get a number 2 receiver. Maybe if that's the first round draft pick, if that's free agent, because maybe Traylon Burks could be good, and I think maybe he can. We need a number 2 because I don't want Woods. That guy cannot catch. He's garbage. So I think we need to get a number 2. We need desperately to get a number 2. I mean, at the same time, I realize you can argue that we need offensive line help, which we do. I think I would like to see another weapon like that. If we can have Chig, Traylon Burks, and then another receiver in the draft, that's really good. I think that could be pretty good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm already thinking offseason a little bit. I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, but see, obviously, I don't want to jump too deep into that, but I have to say, I feel like our offensive line needs to be the most important thing. Because the offensive line and pass protection hasn't been as bad as people say in pass protection. But today he got slaughtered. Couldn't run the ball. He had no push. And if he actually tried to snap the ball and throw it, then he got sacked. Like, our offensive line is a complete overhaul. Cut Lawan, saved the 14 or 12 to $14 million. Aaron Brewer needs to be a backup. I like the fact that he can play a lot of spots on our offensive line and he's good depth, but he does not need to be a starter. So Ben Jones has one more year on his contract, so keep Ben Jones, keep Nate Davis, keep Nicholas Petit-Frere. We need a new left tackle. We need a new left guard. But yeah, like you said, Robert Woods is trash. There's that he can't catch. He can't get open. A lot of times he's lining up in the wrong side of the field.
Yeah.
He's not been good at all. Maybe the worst, which is dumb because I really wanted Robert Woods. As soon as I heard he needed traded, as soon as he wanted to or was going to get traded after they got Allen Robinson, I was happy about that. I was happy about the whole thing, but he has been the biggest disappointment off-season addition, I think, this year.
He's been bad, definitely.
But I guess that's all I got. So tighten up. Hopefully there'll be better days ahead. Hopefully we won't get embarrassed like this anymore this year. It's happened twice. So we just got to hope Cowboys don't do it to us. And we got to hope the Chargers don't do it to us. But
on the bright side, I'm sure next video will be a recap. Oh, the next time we do a recap will be like, yay, victory. We beat the Jaguars.
Of course, then again, if we get beat by the Jaguars, that'll be bad.
Yeah.
That'll be worse than this one because this one I really did think. I think I said like 16-31 or 17-31 is what I thought the score was going to be, which was kind of close to that, kind of. But it is what it is. But yeah, I guess that's going to be it. Titan Bros are out. So peace. Take it easy, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.